It started as just a normal conversation. I was hanging out with my friend Aaron, scrolling through old cartoons we used to watch as kids. We were laughing about how Saturday mornings used to feel like a holiday, how we'd wake up early just to watch anything that happened to be on TV. And then Aaron said something that froze me. He asked, "Do you remember that one show with the puppets? The one with the lantern?" At first it didn't click. The name felt blurry, almost wrong. But the more he described it, the wooden faces, the whispering voices, the lantern glowing in every scene, the more this strange pressure started building in the back of my head. Little Lantern Lane. The moment I remembered it, it felt like a door opened to some place I didn't want to go back to. I started recalling things I never realized were disturbing as a kid, like how the host always whispered instead of talking, or how every episode ended with that line, "Leave your light on. We'll come find you." We joked about it at first, but the more I thought about it, the less nostalgic it felt. It didn't feel like a memory. It felt like something I had tried to forget. The more I read about the live event, the colder I felt. It wasn't just a meet and greet or a chance to see the puppets up close. The descriptions in the forums, the old articles, even the captions under the photos, they all hinted at something wrong. Parents remembered the day differently than the show's cheerful flyer suggested. The children were excited at first, smiling, singing, holding lanterns. Then the host, Elias Bright, announced a special ceremony. The strange part? Adults weren't allowed to go. Not a single parent could follow their children backstage. They were told to wait in the audience while the kids were led away. The ceremony marked the end of the show. Minutes passed, hours passed. Some children returned smiling, holding lanterns, but something about them was off. Quiet, stiff, eyes empty. Others never came back at all. By the time the police arrived, the backstage area was completely empty. No puppets, no host, no children, nothing. And the photos, the children holding lanterns, lined up neatly. In every single frame, a tall, faceless figure lingered behind them, watching, silent. I leaned back from my screen, heart racing. The show hadn't just been canceled. It hadn't just disappeared. Something terrible had happened at that ceremony. Little Lantern Lane wasn't just a memory anymore. It was alive in some way, and it had left traces. I went home that night and couldn't stop thinking about Little Lantern Lane. I needed to know more, so I sat down at my computer and started searching. At first, there was almost nothing. A few scattered mentions in old TV listings, tiny forum posts, and the odd newspaper archive. But one thing was clear. The show had been canceled abruptly. No statements, no explanation. Just gone. It was like it had never existed. The deeper I dug, the stranger it became. I found mentions of a live event the show had hosted. It was billed as a special meet and greet with the puppets and the host, Elias Bright. A chance for kids to see the set in person, hold lanterns, sing along, and meet their favorite characters. It sounded innocent enough. But the old posts hinted at something off. Then I found the photos. They were grainy, faded, like scanned newspaper clippings from decades ago. In some, the host stood in the center of a circle of children holding a lantern. The children smiled, but their eyes were empty. They weren't animated or laughing. They were stiff, almost like dolls posed for a picture. The puppets were in the frame too. Their painted faces looked cheerful at first, but there was something wrong about their eyes. They seemed to follow the camera. Some photos showed the puppets closer to the children than they should have been. In the background, shadows seemed to move in ways the camera couldn't capture. One photo stood out. The children were holding lanterns and standing in rows like a choir, and behind them, a tall, dark figure, faceless, silent, watching. Even now, staring at the images, it sent a shiver down my spine. Something about the photos didn't feel right. The smiles, the lanterns, the puppets. It all had an unease to it that I couldn't explain. The more I looked, the more I realized that Little Lantern Lane hadn't just disappeared. It had been canceled for a reason. And this live event, it might have been the key. The more I read about the live event, the colder I felt. It wasn't just a meet and greet or a chance to see the puppets up close. The descriptions in the forums, the old articles, Even the captions under the photos, they all hinted at something wrong. Parents remembered the day differently than the show's cheerful flyer suggested. The children were excited at first, smiling, singing, holding lanterns. Then the host, Elias Bright, announced a special ceremony. The strange part? Adults weren't allowed to go. Not a single parent could follow their children backstage. They were told to wait in the audience while the kids were led away. The ceremony marked the end of the show. Minutes passed, hours passed. Some children returned smiling, holding lanterns, but something about them was off. Quiet, stiff, eyes empty. Others never came back at all. By the time the police arrived, the backstage area was completely empty. No puppets, no host, no children, nothing. And the photos, the children holding lanterns, lined up neatly. In every single frame, a tall, faceless figure lingered behind them, watching, silent. I leaned back from my screen, heart racing. The show hadn't just been canceled. It hadn't just disappeared. Something terrible had happened at that ceremony. Little Lantern Lane wasn't just a memory anymore. It was alive in some way, and it had left traces. I kept scrolling through the photos, grainy scans, old newspaper clippings, forum uploads from people who claimed they still remembered the day. Children lined up in rows, lanterns glowing faintly in their hands, some smiling, some not. Then I froze. At the edge of one picture, standing beside the children, was the host of the live event, Elias Bright. I leaned closer. He looked young, maybe early 20s. Sharp suit, perfect posture, smiling confidently as he guided the children toward the backstage curtains. But that wasn't what made my breath catch. It was his face, the glasses, the same jawline, the faint freckle beneath the left eye. Even the haircut parted the same way Aaron parts his. I pulled the photo closer to the screen. No way. It wasn't just a resemblance. It wasn't looks kind of like him. It was Aaron, my friend Aaron, the guy I'd known for barely 2 years, the one I met at a bar by chance, the one whose past I realized I knew nothing about. No family stories, no childhood memories, nothing real he'd ever shared. My pulse pounded. I clicked on another photo. There he was again, Elias Bright, bending down to adjust a child's lantern. The same exact smile Aaron flashes when he's amused. The same eyes, photo after photo, from different angles, different distances. And every time Elias Bright looked exactly like the man sitting across from me at bars, texting me memes, laughing at my stupid jokes. I felt sick. The event was decades ago, 30 years, maybe more. And he hadn't changed. Not one line, not one wrinkle, not one sign of aging. My throat tightened as a terrible question formed in my mind. If Elias Bright never aged, and he looked exactly like Aaron, then who had I actually been friends with these last 2 years? And worse, why had he brought this show up in the first place?